Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ray Tampa Podcast. Our podcast offers bold commentary and various subject matters with a laser-like focus. Ray will be out again for another few weeks, handling some personal business. I'm Jamie Wilson III, and I will be co-hosting today's podcast along with the great Russell Cato.
I like that.
Mr. Cato has been a retired educator with more than 40 years of experience in Pinellas County School. As for me, I've worked in physical therapy for 30 plus years as a licensed therapist.
Long time.
Today, we will be talking about Trump's big, beautiful tax bill, AKA the ugly duckling. Okay, here we go. We are all aware of the conservatives supposedly being all about the deep spending cuts, as they say. The bill is supposed to overhaul the U.S. tax code that could cost Americans over $5 trillion. Medicaid is on the chopping block because Trump's cabinet of billionaires will most likely not feel the wrath of the Medicare and Medicaid being cut. It's the middle to lower middle class and the poor that will actually feel the hits, not his rich friend. The question is, will the deficit be increasing with these cuts? Medicaid is an important safety net for about 71.2 million enrolled Americans. Medicaid, a state and federal health insurance program for seniors, individuals with disabilities, and low-income Americans, offer assistance or benefits with nursing home care, personal care, and paying for premiums, as well as other costs. An analysis done by the Congressional Budget Office estimates that there will be an 8.6 million increase of Americans without health insurance by 2034 if cuts are made to Medicaid.
Yeah.
Okay, Russ, jump in. Let's do that.
Beautiful. If you look at the title, Trump's Big Beautiful Tax Bill, oh man. I remember when I think I went to A&M in 1955. But in 1956, I guess you guys can remember that there was a group named the Platters. And one of the biggest songs they put out was The Great Pretender. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? The Great Pretender. And that's Trump. That's what he is, the Great Pretender. Jamie, the best way to get this thing to the public is just look at your dollar bill.
Right.
In fact, just look at your dollar bill and just go around your house and pick up little items, and you'll see things that we're going to talk about today. The value of your dollar is low now.
Yes.
It is very low.
Yes.
And what Trump is doing is really of an extension of a 217 Trump plan.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
But what he wants to do now, he wants to make this thing permanent. But the catch to all of this, Trump cannot run for a third term. He knows that. So in 2028, all of these things that Trump put in now, they're going to be gone. They'll be out the door. He knows that. He knows that. So he's trying to set himself as the Great Pretender. That's what he's doing.
Exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. If you look at a deficit, what the federal government has done over a period of years, and people do that, they spend more money than they make. And that's what is happening now. We're spending, national-wise, we're spending more money than we can make.
Always have.
Always have. And so there's a term called I got to get it right, GDP, the gross domestic product. And that's how we kind of based on our financial situation from the nation. And at this moment, we have a deficit. Boy, this is a big deficit. 34 trillion. Ain't that? I don't even know how $1 trillion look.
Wish I could just
I don't know how $1 trillion look. So therefore, if you got a deficit that high, somebody got to pay for this.
Yeah.
Somebody. And that's where we are now. Yeah. So Trump is saying to the people, I'm going to give you a big, beautiful bill where everybody is going to be equal paying for this. That's bullshit.
Never. Never.
Yeah, never,
Never
never,
gonna happen.
never going to happen.
Yeah.
You remember this thing of Robin Hood, robbing the poor
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna say robbing the rich and giving
Give it
to the poor. Well, it's just the vice versa, man.
Yeah, he flipped. He flipped it because that's what's in his heart.
Yeah, he's flipping it, Jamie.
Yeah,
He is flipping it.
Definitely.
He is flipping it, and he knows this. And so when you look at him, and we got a deficit of 34, 35 trillion dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Trump deficit will add another $4.5 trillion to this deficit.
Exactly.
We would never get out of this shit.
It kind of rounds up the five because
Yeah.
because he's making these promises, but the whole, like you were right, what you were saying, they had to get him in.
Yeah, I had to get
Rich
it.
people had to get him in because the 2017 tax bill that you spoke of, it ends December of this year.
Right.
So they were going to get him in regardless.
Right.
That's why I really feel Kamala Wan, and I'm hearing a lot of stuff. No, it was this guy on one of the shows I was watching. He's a forensic. He works with the government and he deals with elections and all that. And he was saying like all the treachery that they did, like mail-in ballots. If you left, like if you put your middle name and didn't put it this year, they threw it out. If you didn't do your bubble in all the way, and they really targeted mail-in ballots because they know by precinct where the predominantly black people are, and that's where they're gonna go. They don't have to really leave their seats.
Right.
They wait till you mail them in, and they just. This guy said a lot of sad stuff as far as how they did. He really feel in his analysis that she won and that it was a lot of treachery with the Trump and Elon's help electronically.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about him too a little bit too. Elon. Got to talk about Elon a little bit too.
Extending the Trump's tax breaks for the rich and big corporations from the 2017, as you mentioned, Russ, will cost Americans $4 trillion over the next decade.
Right.
Now Trump is adding another $500 billion, supposedly in tax breaks. This includes no tax on tips and a few other nonsense. Really that's like me giving you a penny in one hand and reaching in your pocket and taking out thousands.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
Now Trump's the spending, now his proposed plan of spending is going to be $110 billion for ICE, $90 billion for border security, plus another $100 million for military involvement at the border. The plan also mandates $2 trillion over the next 10 years to offset tax cuts and border spending. Now, the scary part of all this, the committees will be deciding where the cuts are made to grab this money.
Right.
And that committee, that's that energy committee. Trump's tax. So they decide where the money's coming from. The energy committee that oversee and they oversee Medicare and Medicaid.
Right.
And as you said about the $880 billion, those are the amount of cuts they plan to make.
Yeah.
And you ain't gonna make that up with tariffs. You're not gonna make it up with tariffs.
You can't. You can't.
You go ahead.
You can't. You can't. You cannot. Picking back on what you're saying, it is amazing that when you look at that, we're just hoping people realize what this man is doing. Because for some reason, this man like a magician that people still believe in, that this man ain't.
But it's the ignorant. See, the rich already know it's a money grab. As I said before, the same way when they first start talking about tariffs. If you're a money person, when they first started about tariffs, they knew that would tank the market. You remember it went down 2,000 points, 2020, about a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So they short that. They got people moving their money, say, okay, Trump's going to announce this tariff stuff is going to piss everybody off and blah, blah, blah. The stock market's going to fall. So we're going to short the market. They made probably billions because they probably dropping 500 million in there. And then they're making money on the way down. And then as the economy recovers, which it has a little bit, as it recovers, the stock market's going back up a little bit. And they're making money on the way up. This is this is a manipulation.
It's
It's
manipulation.
criminal. It's manipulation. Trump is behind it. He's hooking all his boys. They made probably more money on that than what they're gonna do on this shit
That's the
right here.
truth.
They made
Yeah.
billions on this stock manipulation
my
thing
God.
that they're doing. And the stuff I just mentioned, you know, this 110 for ICE and the border control, that's going to add another 2.8 trillion to the deficit by just with that. Not to mention other nonsense going on.
He bought in what's it, Elon Musk.
Muskrat.
Oh, Muskrat, man. And I looked at him. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong in it, this man gave to his campaign to the Republicans and Donald Trump $290 million.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's big. So now, if you got a guy giving you that kind of money, you got to pay him. You got to come back and pay this guy something. If you give me $290 million to my campaign and the Republican, I mean, you owe somebody. You're in debt. But here's what it is. And if you go back and look at the time that Trump was on TV, the many times he said, we won't touch Medicaid, we won't touch Social
They're lying.
I think he said it over millions and millions times. He said that we will not. But he said, but I got a guy coming in named Elon Musk. And what we going to do, we're going to look for fraud, waste, and abuse.
That is the word they use. Fraud, waste, and abuse. That's their go-to word.
That's what they did.
To get these, and they get these uneducated Republicans.
That's right.
I mean, just poor as hell as we are. You know what I mean? They're already poor, but they following their Messiah, who picking their pockets dry. I think one of the presidents says, as long as you can make a white man feel that he's better than somebody, you can pick his pockets dry. One of the presidents said, I forget who. I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah, but that, like you said, and see what Trump got behind him are these brown nosers. And these brown nosers don't do nothing but flatter and give him all this attention, and he just go on by this minute. But I want you to listen to this, Jamie. I watched Trump here recently go away from the tariff and jump on his visit to the Middle East with Saudi Arabia. He is preparing. He knows that in 2028 he gone.
Right.
But he is preparing himself and his family to make millions and millions of dollars. The first journey he take, if he was so concerned about the Ukraine and Russia, and he'd have been over there first. His first trip was to Saudi Arabia.
You want to put Trump hotels over there. That's business meeting, man. That's not about us. That's a business meeting.
He sees this.
Yeah.
He knows that, boy, by 2020, I'm going out of here. And look at this thing they offer him, a huge plane. Now, in common sense, he knows you don't accept shit like this, but it's Trump. Trump said, no, I want this plane right here. Now, I won't use it. Bullshit, you know that. But he's looking to gain influence for his family by using the Saudi Arabian people and things like that. He knows that. But let me go back to say something too here. One of the things that I must admire China for, and I'm not bragging on China, but China is able to stand up to him.
Yes, they are.
So when he bought all this tariffs, and by the way, too, and they're not going to tell you this, the reason why this economy is still going strong and strong job, that's the Biden economy they're living off.
I know it.
That is
He benefited off Obama.
That's right.
President Obama's economy last time. He made like he was the best thing. You're right.
That's what it is. The reason why your economy is strong is because of the Biden economy. It's beginning to fall in place. The job, the unemployment, all that is coming on. It's falling in place with Biden. But they will tell you that no, Biden. Yeah, you know what that shit is all about. It's amazing. And I went back and looked at this tariff disaster, what took place. When he hit China with that, China said, okay, I'm going to hit you back. The Chinese government didn't back down. The Chinese government don't have a deficit. It is Americans who have a deficit with China.
Man, I want to talk about that. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, exactly. China, people need to look at China differently. They're not a third world
No,
country anymore.
they're
They
not
are
that.
a power player.
Power
They're
player.
just as powerful as the U.S.
That's
and
right.
Russia.
That's
They
right.
flexing muscles now. They're middle class. They got more of a middle class now. But you mentioned about Elon Musk.
Oh man.
Elon Musk paid that little funky 200 and some million because this man gets from his government contracts.
Oh yeah.
He gets $8 million a day from our government. So that's why.
How much?
$8 million a day.
8
in government contracts a day. It's calculated as $8 million a day. But I want to, oh yeah.
8 million?
8 million a day. Rich people don't make a move unless they know they're going to get it. That's why I say, give in one hand, grab in the other. That's what they do. But I want to go back to, I want to talk about,
Damn.
I want to mention a little bit about, you said something about the reason, I want to give the reason for the tariffs.
Okay.
And what's the pullback. So Trump needed to pull back on the tariffs for the simple facts that Canada, Japan, France, the UK, and Germany, they've been buying up. When he started this old crazy shit about these tariffs, they started buying up. Like Mark Carney from Canada, he bought 378.8 billion U.S. Treasury bonds. So him and his other buddies, they done all got together. And these other countries that I mentioned, Germany, UK, Japan, France, China, all of them, they're buying these bonds, these U.S. Treasury bonds up as a plan B with Trump with this nonsense.
Okay.
That's why he's walking this back. And I'm going to tell you what they're doing. They're buying these bonds. See, U.S. used to be seen as a stable place to park your money.
Yeah.
So countries all over the world were buying our bonds.
That's what happened.
All right. So now we're kind of iffy. So since they want to play this tariff game, and that's why Trump has to walk it back, a lot of these countries have bought up a bunch of our bonds in the billions, a bunch of them. So what they're doing is they're either doing or threatening to sell them off. Which would cost, because a bond is no more than it's an IOU.
Okay.
When we allow them to buy bonds, it's like an IOU. We're going to hook you up later, dog. We got you. Whatever you bond for 5, 10 years, we got you. Don't worry about it. Be stable. Now we're not seen as stable. So what they've been doing, they've been dumping the bonds, meaning selling them. And that low rate we were getting, like that lower rate that we were paying out, now becomes a higher rate. That we have to pay out, which could potentially, which will, if this continues, wreck our country. So they're trying to bankrupt America, even worse, because they're trying to tank the economy.
So what you're saying, Jamie, and I'm listening to you saying this, it was not really the stock market that was shaking things. It's the bonds that are shaking things.
Well, the stock market too, because of the bad news. See, I've been trading for off and on for years. Any little news can make the market flip. Any little news. So it's the market itself is based on emotion, because you got big institutions, large institutions, that they have billions and trillions of dollars involved. So they try to get ahead of the news. By the time it hit CNN or whatever, they got it probably 30 minutes before we get it. So they go ahead and buy, sell, short, long, whatever they're going to do to save themselves, and because they have a large base of people that they're making money for. So yeah, but they both do play a big thing. But this was their part B to get Trump to walk this back.
The bonds.
Yeah, the Treasury bonds. That's why he's pulling back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the main reason.
That's what I'm saying. The bonds are more reason than the stock market.
The bonds is the more reason. Because as you said earlier about the dollar, it devalues the dollar. Not to mention that we got BRICS. We got to deal with them. That's Russia and China and these same people that I mentioned. They're all trying to dethrone the dollar. The dollar's already struggling against the euro. You see what I mean? If your dollar's no good, you're no good. Your dollar will cause you to be that third world nation. And that's what's going on. So they're either threatening to sell it off, because now we have to pay a higher yield or a higher rate on this here. So which weakens which can put us in, like, we already in $34 trillion worth of debt.
Yeah.
We're already there. So this could make the debt much more higher when they start dumping these bonds. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
Trump done started a fight. These people, they've been meeting. They don't like this. He's caused a wave around the world, pissing people off. So they just getting together. First it was the BRICS. Now they're saying, okay, this asshole tripping. Okay, we gonna buy up these treasury bonds, and then we gonna just start. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you're paying back at a higher yield.
So what you're really saying, what Trump has done, he has created a trade war.
A trade, hell yeah.
And he can't win.
Yes, he can't win.
He can't win.
He can't win.
Because
he can't win.
The biggest person that you have, your opponent, is China. And you can't beat them.
Man, he owes Japan a lot of money too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he owes a lot of these countries. The UK, I mean, he's really got himself in a really bad situation, and now we're no longer seen as a stable country. The US used to be the shit.
Yeah, not now.
Now we're unstable now.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Gotcha.
So if I was in Russia or China somewhere, I'm dumping the bonds too. And when you dump them, he got to pay a higher rate. We as Americans have to pay. You know, it falls on you and I.
Truly. You remember when he sat up there one day and said they made a deal with the UK and that was nothing but a show.
And he lied.
They didn't have the UK. He never had a deficit with the UK. Never did. But he made it like, boy, this is a great thing. And he put that out big time, and all his little pals were saying, boy, what a great deal.
Yeah.
Man. But listen, did you hear what Walmart is doing? Walmart told him, we got to increase our price, man. He
told him to eat it. But you know what? Their biggest trade partner, Walmart, is China.
In China. That's what they get.
It's China. Everything is made into probably, I would venture to say 80% of their whatever is coming from China. So they're really going to be hurt.
What he told him? Eat it.
He told him to eat it. He said, eat it. And you can't tell people to do that. No matter what Trump say, they're going to pass it down to the consumers.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to see things go up until they stop playing these trade games, because that's really hurting us. And it's pissing off these other countries.
Truly.
And I wouldn't even travel international right now. Not without a gun.
Jim, let me jump back to this.
Everybody's pissed off at us.
Everybody. Let me jump back to this Medicaid thing. And people may ask, why go Medicaid? Why are they trying to do that? Because that's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
That's where the money. Do you know if they cut Medicaid, how many millions of Americans would lose health care?
They don't care, because they will never. They don't care, Russ.
They don't care.
Because they're rich. They got generational wealth. We're talking billionaires. We're talking people that probably live off 11, 12 million a month.
That's right.
That's just interest off their money. That's probably net interest off their money. 11, 12 million a month. It's nothing to them.
You just think about
They
it.
see life different.
And you're right, Jamie. You look at when you look at Medicaid, and you look at people who don't have health insurance, who have heart problems and these kind of things.
Yeah.
That this kind of insurance help these people.
Yes. The disabled.
The disabled, man.
You know,
he cutting the shit
people
out
on
of that.
dialysis. Medicaid pays a big portion for that. I mean, it's the kids. I mean, programs for kids.
School.
Yeah. Yeah.
Programs. This man just don't have a heart, Jamie. He's a rich man. He's a rich man thing, man. And see, all this, Jamie, believe it or not, the people that are going to pay for this going to be that middle class.
Middle class. Yeah. Anybody that's got a job
gonna
pay for
this.
But more so the middle class, because the rich, they can play their little games. I remember it was one election. It was one guy who was a billionaire. He was running for president. I think he paid 17% in taxes. Trump paid $750 a few years in taxes.
And this one time you didn't pay taxes at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you justify this kind of shit?
It's corruption.
Corruption.
Yeah, it's corruption.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
You know, but I'm concerned about the House committee, because they're going to continue slashing social programs that affect, education, housing, food programs, health insurance that we talked about, Social Security, Medicaid, all this, and the programs, all the stuff we just mentioned. But them having that power, like who oversees them? Who's their oversight committee? Because if they're under Trump's thumb, they're going to do whatever he says do.
That scares you.
Trump is lying about. Listen, they already been raping Social Security. Every administration, every presidential administration been taking money because we spend more than we take in. That's why the whole fact of oh, we're going to get rid of Social Security. The hell you ain't. There's no way you can get rid of Social Security.
No,
There is no way because we take. I think 4 point something trillion we take in, but we spend over that. And that's still not enough. And we still dig into our social programs, especially Social Security. We've been raping that for, like I said. So we overspend. If you want to trim the fat, hit the places like the military. Yeah, I agree that there are some places that need to be trimmed.
Yeah, true.
I get it.
Yes.
But all what are those three things they say?
The fraud.
Abuse, fraud. And they're using that's their trigger word. They're using that for everything.
But the American people, they want that. They want if you can cut out some abuse and fraud, that's good. But that ain't what you're doing. That ain't what you're doing.
So you telling me we got 880 billion of waste, abuse, and fraud? Really? That's a lot.
A lot. That's why you're calling in your boy Musk. And when Musk came in, he couldn't even find it. They lied.
Ross lied. Yeah, he lied about
he lied
about the
stuff
he lied.
Yeah, he didn't. When he told he was one to cut, he did a lot of lying.
He did a lot of lying.
Yeah. But if you give a man that kind of money, political wise, you got to give him, you got to put him in. It's going to be interesting now to look at the relation of Musk and Trump. Now, I just want to see how it. But I tell people, beware what Trump trying to do now. He's looking, he knows damn well he is not going to be reelected in 2020.
He knows it. That's why he's making money. He's
right.
negotiating. He's going to these other countries for personal stuff, like
gain.
with those overseas where he just was. He want to build hotels over there. He still want to get some up in Russia. I mean, listen,
Jamie, that's where he gets his money from.
He gets his money from.
He can't get it from Russia.
And stock manipulation, like what he did.
Where he gets
hooking his boys up, but this whole thing is a big money grab, as I've been saying.
That's what it is.
Our government is a corporation. It is. It's a giant corporation. And these Republicans trying to pass some nonsense like this, they forget that they work for the people.
Oh, man.
You're working for the people of America. They're forgetting that. And see, that's the problem. Them some greedy bastards.
Yeah. Let me say this before we leave. I want you to notice another thing too. The inviting of these South African immigrants in there.
Boy, that's racism.
That's some shit. That is what you call selective racism.
Mm-hmm.
That is no more than Trump, and he's given a pass to Elon with his people because Elon was born in South Africa.
Yes, he's a part of that apartheid nonsense.
That's part.
Do you know that I worked with somebody during apartheid? He was from South Africa.
Yeah.
What's the little place? Anyway.
Pretoria.
No, the real popular one, the capital, whatever.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of it right now, but he was telling me back then. He was like, "Oh yeah," like he was a light skinned, real little light skinned, short, fat guy, and his wife was light skinned, Which that was all good, but he was telling me that you have to marry, you can't date or outside your color. Like dark people have to date dark people, light skinned people have to date light skin, and none of them can touch the white people, basically. You'll get jailed for that. And I mean, he was like, "Oh, my country's great." Like, fuck you mean your country's great, fool? Man, they just gonna get it. So basically, they finna bring them racist bastards over here who already. That's that city in Texas he's been working on, that underground railroad and all that other stuff. But anyway, we gotta. Unfortunately, we could talk for hours on this, but we gotta wrap it up. We thank all of you guys for tuning in and listening to the Ray Tampa podcast. We could be heard on every Tuesday at 5:30. 99.1 FM The Berg. And we also on YouTube. You can catch us there. So we thank you all for tuning in, listening. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the show.